Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Black. I am FIGT's Communications Co-Director, and it is my great pleasure and privilege to introduce one of FIGT's 2022's keynote speaker, Amanda Bates. Amanda, hi.
How are you? I am so excited to be here. It's a different scene for me to be on this side of the conversation.
It is. Yes. So for people who don't know you, can you introduce yourself very briefly? I know that you have a lot of different roles and a lot of different things that you do. So give us the highlights, please.
Let's hope that I can remember. Okay, so let me start with the easiest connection. I am an FIGT member, so that's good. Plug for the organization. I had the privilege of being the inaugural affiliate director when I was on the board. And I just want to say, this has nothing to do with anything else. I am so excited to see all the different affiliates that are in the community now. So if you're part of an affiliate, hey, I kind of helped lay the groundwork for that. But I think most people know me in this community from the Black Expat. That is the multimedia platform that I formed in 2015 and launched in 2016 to look at Black identity and international living. Kind of a response. The short story is that it was a response out of a Twitter group that Ellen Mahoney from Sea Change and I ran with third culture kids, and I realized there wasn't a lot of conversation around Black expatriation and mobility. So that's probably the biggest thing. But I'm also the host of the Global Chatter podcast, which, like all good things, came out of the pandemic when I had no free time, but somehow free time, where I talk about mobility and international living and career and relationships and this lifestyle from mostly Black and brown perspectives. And then for the other people who really know me, I am a student affairs professional and I work in higher education. And so I help people figure out what they want to be when they grow up. So that's the short and straight to the point.
Thank you. And we are huge fans of both the Global Chatter and the Black Expat. If you haven't checked those out, highly recommend that you do. Some great stuff to read and to listen to there. Amanda, our theme for this year is where do we go from here? What's your kind of initial response to that big question?
Well, I always think that when you run a site called the Black Expat, you're always thinking about, you're always thinking that question. I would say that much of my work, at least in the expatriation space and looking at underrepresented groups, has been kind of that forward thinking. And so I think that when I look at the conference and I look at the topic, it is the topic that's been needed for a while, irrespective of a pandemic or not, irrespective of, for those of us, particularly in the United States, who kind of saw what happened in 2020 in the aftermath of George Floyd, and the reckoning that we're sort of seeing conversations around diversity, equity, and inclusion, particularly, that it's time for this conversation, right? And it's been more than time for this conversation, but we now have to get to the point where we are discussing what are the tangible things that we can all do in our own ways, right? Because it's not enough to identify, yeah, we've got some stuff going on, good or bad. It's now like, how do we move on from that? How do we not necessarily move on, maybe that's the wrong term, but how do we build a path that looks better than even what we've left behind? And so I'm excited because I think that there are going to be some amazing presentations that are looking at this whole mobility life from perspectives that all of us have not considered. And I think there are going to be some really great, like, I don't want to call them solutions or resolutions, but just some great dynamic thinking and ideas that are going to really probably shift the way many of us have approached this mobile life.
Love that. I hope so. And I'm excited to see that content as well. I'm excited to hear your keynote. Can you give us a little sneak preview of what you might be talking about?
Sure. So anyone who knows me knows I love a good story. And I was a kid who grew up reading, and books kind of helped me in my own third culture kid journey. And I'm just going to say that when you think about my keynote, it really is going to be a story. And it's really how stories have helped me along the way see myself and see my place in the world as a Black woman, as a third culture kid, as someone with an international perspective, as a human. And hopefully it'll be relatable irrespective of where you come from. So there's that. And that's all I'm going to say. because that's all you need to know now.
That is all we need to know. You need to register and come to conference to get the whole thing. Amanda, one last question. If somebody's watching this, maybe they know you from the Black Expat, they don't know anything about FIGT, why should they come to conference?
You know, I've had the privilege when we were in person of going to 5 of them, like in succession. So I've actually seen this, and some of my favorite people I've actually met through FIGT. And it's hard to describe beyond the fact that, you know, we're like, I like to say as expats and third culture kids and mobile folks, we're misfit toys. But when you get into the FIGT room, you find other misfit toys, and it works because your permutation and your life story doesn't have to be exactly the same, but you're just weird enough and the other person is just weird enough for it to click. I know this is like a really, really bad analogy, but it works. It's like the home for misfit toys. Like, you know, our stories don't have to be exactly the same, and yet somehow they're still the same because we've had shared and different experiences. And so I think that FIGT is a place where when you find your people and you find your person, it's just hard not to stay connected.
All right. Amanda, thank you. Can't wait to hear and see you virtually at conference in about 6 weeks' time. Thank you very much. And I will drop the details on where to sign up and join us at conference below this.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing all of you as well.
Thank you.